Welcome, everyone. Let's begin our lesson for today by going over the learning goals and success criteria. First, what are we learning? We're learning how to recognize similar functions as being transformations of their parent functions. How are we learning it? Through the function transformations notes and the function transformations assignment. When can we use this information? To recognize the similarities between problems and understand how their solutions might also be similar. How do you know you learned it? By getting a score of 4 on the function transformations assignment. Now let's take a look at our agenda for today. We'll begin by going over the learning goals and success criteria. While we do that, you'll fill out your Get It Started. Once you've completed your Get It Started, we'll go over it together and answer any questions that you may have. After that, we'll go over the function transformations notes, and then I'll give you time to complete the function transformations assignment on Desmos. Once you've completed the assignment, we'll go over it together and answer any questions that you may have. At the end of class, we'll go back over our learning goals and success criteria while you fill out your before you go. Your only homework for tonight is to continue working on the reasoning with Families of Function Study Guide and any incomplete assignments that you may have. Let's take a look now at the function transformations notes. The notes begin with the learning goals and success criteria. Let's take a look at the types of transformations. So the first one is a reflection. That is a flip movement, so we're flipping things over. Then we have translations, which is a slide movement. Rotation, which is a spin. And dilation is where we blow it up or shrink it down. So here's a reflection. So you can see here's our reflection. We have our triangle here, and it flips over and goes this way. We also have Simba here showing you what a reflection is as he looks into and sees himself in the water. Translation is a slide movement. So we have a triangle here, and we slide it over and to the right, and it becomes this one. Kind of like the players on Remember the Titans here that are sliding and moving around. Rotation, okay, is a spin movement. So we have our triangle here. If we spin it around, it becomes this one. Kind of like Woody's head does right here. And dilation means we're going to get bigger or smaller. So we have a triangle here, and it gets bigger. Kind of like Bugs here. Drinks the special stuff and becomes this big buff bunny. Now let's take a look at the types of dilations. So the first kind of dilation is a horizontal stretch. So a horizontal stretch expands and contracts the function side to side. So it causes it to shrink down horizontally or expand horizontally. Now a vertical stretch is similar, but now it's going to cause it to expand or contract up and down. So that's what causes that stretch. So an example of this looks like this. So we have our original function here, and if we were to expand it out, this would be considered a horizontal stretch, because notice we're just making it fatter. Or if we started with this one and shrunk it down, this still would become a horizontal stretch. Now here, if we start with the red one and then start to lift it up and move it up and down, then that becomes a vertical stretch. Let's talk now about how to sign in to Desmos to complete your work. So what we're going to do is you're going to click on the link to go to the assignment, and it should take you to a page that looks kind of like this. And right here where it says sign in with Google, we're going to click there. And it's going to pop up with our email accounts. You're going to click on your school email account. And it should already have you logged in because you should have already been logged in using Google Classroom. From there, I'm just going to click Start the Activity, and it will take me into the assignment and allow me to begin. So that's how you will log in to Desmos using Google. Let's take a look now at the function transformations assignment. The assignment begins with the learning goals and success criteria. If we scroll down, there's a link here to take you to the Desmos activity. Go ahead and click on that link. And it should take you to a page that looks like this. We'll go ahead and click Start the Activity. The activity begins with the learning goals and success criteria. We'll go ahead and click Next. Now it says complete the table to find the function values for each of these. So when x is -3, so -3 to the third power is -27. Then we plug in -1, so -1 to the third power is -1. 0 to the third power is 0. 2 to the third power is 8, and 5 to the third power is 125. And then you'll do that for each of these tables. So notice this one should be exactly the same, except we're adding 2 to it. So this should be -25, 1, 2, etc. Then on this one, we're going to subtract 2. So everything else is the same. We start with the same, essentially, parent function and then just slide it up and down. So we're going to go ahead and click Next. It says, what transformation maps the ordered pairs for y equals x to the third and y equals x to the third plus 2? So it graphed it for you. If you filled out the tables, it would have graphed these for you. And then you're going to state what transformation occurred. And then once you realize what transformation occurred, you're going to go ahead and sketch a graph. So it should have slid everything up to. So here, then this point gets up to right there. This point goes up to right there, and so on. So it should have done essentially the same thing, except now we're slid up. So it should look kind of like that. And you'll do the same thing for this one, for the -2. Then it says, what do you notice about the two graphs that we just created, you just sketched, compared to the original? Why do you think this occurred? So then you're going to make a conjecture. So if y equals f of x is represented in function notation as f of x, what function notation would represent y equals x to the third plus 2? Well, we know that this is the same thing as f of x. So we would say y equals f of x. That represents this part. And then we got to add in the extras. So this would be plus 2. Then this one would be the same, except it would be -2. Then we'll go ahead and click Next. And then you're going to do the same thing for this one. But now instead of adding a constant to the end, we're going to add a coefficient to the beginning. So you would just multiply each of those values and solve those for the tables. And then you're going to graph them just like here and state the transformation. Then on the last one, you're going to state how the graphs compare and why do you think that occurred. And then here you would do the same thing. So this is y equals f of x. So, and that represents y equals x to the third power. So we'd say y equals f of x. But now we're going to multiply that part by 2. So this is really just 2 f of x. And then here the same thing would be 1/2 f of x though. And then when you're done with that activity, you'll go ahead and go back to your Google form and click Next. This will take you to your before you go. Go ahead and fill out your before you go and then submit your work on Google Classroom.